Hello and welcome to our new YouTube tutorial. In this video we're going to create a progress bar with the shape of a circle and with a percentage value. We'll create it using pure HTML, CSS and JavaScript. We won't use any plugin or SVG or any other tools. Before we dive deeper into our project, I'm going to say a special and huge thank you to Skillshare for helping our channel by sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online platform and community for courses on all kinds of topics. It makes education available and accessible for anyone who wants to learn something new or just level up the skills. You can take the courses by watching videos and then practice what you have learned by making your class projects by using your new skills and knowledge. Skillshare offers thousands of great classes on topics like illustration, graphic design, web development, music production, photography, and much more. It is a place where millions of students come together to take the next step in their creative journey. Skillshare members get unlimited access to thousands of inspiring classes, hands-on projects, and feedback from a community of millions for a very affordable price at less than $10 a month annually. I'm excited to tell you that the first 1,000 people who will use the link in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. So you'll be able to get access to all different classes on the platform, learn some new stuff, and develop your skills that can be applied in real life. So join up. Alright, let's go back to our project. So the progress bar works on a scroll event. By default we have here 0%, and once we start to scroll down the page, then this white line around the circle will be filled with the red color smoothly, and also the percentage value will increase accordingly. Then if we scroll up, the percentage value will decrease and we will get back the white border. This project is a part of our upcoming Udemy course in which we will build an advanced complete website with HTML, CSS and JavaScript from scratch. It will be released soon, so stay tuned. Alright, so that's it what we're going to create in this video. Let's go ahead and get started. I've created a new folder on the desktop called Circle Progress Bar, which right now is empty. Let's go ahead and open it in VS Code. I'm going to create our working files. The first one is going to be index.html. Then we will have style.css and script.js. Then open the index.html file and create a basic HTML document. We need to use Emmet. Let's place here an exclamation mark and then hit Tab or Enter. Okay, first of all I'm going to change the title. Let's make it Circle Progress Bar, and then link CSS and JavaScript files. I'm going to open link tag in the head element. Let's specify here the path of the file. As for the JavaScript file, I'm going to open script tag right above the closing body tag, and then in the source attribute we have to specify the path of the file. Alright, after that I'm going to run the project to the browser using a live server, and then place the editor and browser side by side. Alright, so at first we're going to create a progress bar using HTML and CSS. We will style it like so, and then we will make it work using JavaScript. Let's start with the HTML markup. I'm going to open a div tag, which is going to be container. Next we need another div tag, which will wrap the entire content. Let's assign to it class progress bar. So inside the div tag we will need 4 different elements. Right now let's just create them, and then we will explain and show why do we need those elements. So let's open a div tag with the class half circle, then duplicate it 3 times. Actually we don't need to touch the second div element. The third one is going to be a half circle top. As for the last development, it's going to be a progress bar circle. As the content, let's insert here 0% by default. Alright, so that's it about the HTML markup. Let's go ahead and start to write some CSS. I'm going to create some common styles. Let's select every element. For that we need to use an asterisk. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of default margin and padding from every element. Let's set both of them to 0. Also, I'm going to make box sizing border box. And then change the font family. Let's use here Arial, Helvetica, sans serif. So the common styles are applied to the elements. Next, I'm going to change the font size of the HTML, because throughout this project I'm going to use rem as the measurement unit. Right now 1 rem equals 16 pixels because the font size of the HTML element is equal to 16 pixels. I want to convert 1 rem into 10 pixels, and for that we have to decrease the font size of the HTML. Let's make it 62.5%. So as you can see, the text became smaller. Okay, next let's take care of the container. Let's select it and first of all define its width and height. I'm going to set its width to 100%. As for the height, I'm going to make it 200% of the viewport because we need to scroll down the page. And also change the background color, make it gray using 555. Alright, after that I'm going to take care of the progress bar itself, I mean the wrapper, define its width and height. I'm going to make both of them 40 rem. Also change the background color, make it white, and then make the progress bar rounded using border radius with the value 50%. So the progress bar should be placed in the center, and it has to be fixed because once we scroll down the page it shouldn't move. So let's set its position to fixed. Then we need top and left properties, both of them to be 50%. And then in order to center the element perfectly we have to use transform with the translate function. And we have to pass here -50% twice. Alright, that's it about the wrapper. Let's move on and take care of the progress bar circle. Let's select it, and first of all let's define its width and height. I'm going to set both of them to 39.4 rem. Then change the background color, it's going to be black. Also make the element rounded using border radius 50%. Then change the color, make it white. And increase the font size, make it 4 rem. Okay, so this element is styled, but we have to take care of its position. It should be placed in the center of the wrapper, and also we have to center the percentage value inside the circle. In both cases I'm going to use Flexbox, and in order to avoid to write the same code over and over again, I'm going to create a new class. Let's call it center, and assign to it a couple of different Flexbox properties and values. The first one is going to be display flex. Then we need justify content center for horizontal centering, and align item center for the vertical centering. After that we have to assign this class to the progress bar and the progress bar circle. Okay, so now as you can see the problem is fixed. So the progress bar is prepared, it has the default look, and now we have to make it work. As you remember, we created a couple of different div elements. The first two div elements, which have a class half circle, will manage to fill the progress bar with the red color. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to hide the black circle for a while in order to explain and demonstrate things better. Let's assign to it display none. So the black circle is hidden, and now we have to take care of the 3 div elements which will help us to make the progress bar work. Let's select all 3 elements simultaneously. I mean, we need half circle and half circle top. First of all, let's take care of their positions. We need position to be absolute. Also, let's set top and left properties, both of them, to 0. And after that, let's define width and height. I'm going to set width to 50%. As for the height, let's make it 100%. So right now they are not visible, and in order to fix that, I'm going to assign to each of them a different temporary background color. Let's select the first half circle using nth child selector and set its background color to green. Then I'm going to duplicate this code, change the number, we need here 2. As for the background color, it's going to be blue. And finally, let's select half circle top and set its background color to, let's say, orange. Alright, so all 3 developments are placed on top of each other. At first, I'm going to make the progress bar work on the hover in order to make it simpler to understand, and then we'll change the hover and use scroll event using JavaScript. So we need to rotate the first half circle by 180 degrees. As for the second half circle, we have to rotate it by 360 degrees because we have to fill the entire circle. As for the half circle top, I mean this orange element, we have to make it hidden. So let's go ahead and select progress bar with hover, followed by the first half circle. Let's use again nth child selector. Then we need transform with the rotate function, and as we said, the value is going to be 180 degrees. Let's duplicate this code, change the nth child number, make it 2. As for the value of the rotate function, it's going to be 360 degrees. Okay, besides that, we need to use the transition to make the rotation smoother. So let's use transition with the values, transform. The duration for the first half circle is going to be 1 second. And also we need to use here linear. Then let's grab this code, paste it down for the second half circle. The only thing that we need to change is duration. Let's make it 2 seconds. So now if we hover, then the elements will rotate. Right now we see here just blue element because the green one is under it. If I pause the blue background here, then you will see the green element. So the elements are rotating, but in a kind of wrong way. I mean, the origin of the transformation is set to center by default, but in our case we need to make it right center. So let's use transform origin and make it right center. So in this case, the origin of the transformation is going to be the center of the element, but on the right side. Okay, so once we hover over the progress bar, we have to hide this orange element. So let's select progress bar with hover, followed by the half circle top, and set its opacity to 0. So now the element hides once we hover over the progress bar, but actually it hides too early. We need to hide it once the green element finishes rotating. So we need to hide it after 1 second. Let's use transition with opacity. The duration is going to be 0 second. As for the delay, it's going to be 1 second. Alright, so now everything works fine. Now we have to change the colors, and also we need to make those elements rounded. The first 2 developments should have a red color, I mean the color B6 with 4 zeros. As for the third element, it's going to be white because the progress bar itself has the white background. Okay, so now we need to hide those outer parts of the elements. For that, let's use overflow hidden. Now, as you can see, we have a much better result. Finally, we have to make the black circle visible. So let's remove display none. Right now the part of the circle is visible because it ended up behind the div elements. In order to fix that, let's use the index property. We have to assign to it some higher value than 0, let's say 10. Okay, now if I hover over the progress bar, then it will be filled with the red color nicely. Alright, so now we have shown you how to create a progress bar using CSS, and now we're going to show you how to make it work on scroll using JavaScript. Let's take a look at the finished project. So if I scroll down, then the progress bar will be filled, and also the percentage value will change accordingly. Then it will decrease once we scroll up back to the top. Okay, at first let's comment those styles out, I mean the styles on hover. Then go to the JavaScript file. First of all, I'm going to select the div elements, I mean 4 div elements which are placed inside the progress bar. Let's go ahead and start with the half circles. Create new variable and call it half circles. In this case we are selecting 2 elements, so we need to use query selector all method. Let's specify here the class name half circle. The next element is going to be half circle top, so let's duplicate this line of code. Change the name of the variable. We need half circle top. Also we need here query selector instead of query selector all method. As for the class name, it's going to be half circle top. Let's duplicate this line of code once again. Change the name of the variable. It's going to be progress bar circle. And also change the class name. We need progress bar circle. Alright, so all div elements are selected. Next I'm going to attach a scroll event to the document. Let's use add event listener method. We need to specify here the event. It's going to be scroll. And also we need here a callback function which will be executed once we scroll the page. So as you know, the one complete rotation is equal to 360 degrees. We have to convert the scrolled portion of the height into degrees. Before we do that, we have to define a couple of different variables. The first one is going to be the viewport height of the page. Let's create new variable and call it page viewport height. It's going to be window.innerHeight. The next variable is going to be the entire height of the page. So let's create page height. It should be equal to document elements. And then we need scroll height. So again, we defined here the entire height of the page. And the last variable is going to be the scrolled portion of the page. So let's create new variable. I'm going to call it scrolled portion. And it should be equal to window.page y offset. Alright, so now everything is prepared to convert the height of the scrolled portion into the degrees. Let's create a new variable. I'm going to call it scrolled portion degree. And now we have to use the following formula. We need to divide scrolled portion to the difference of the page height and page viewport height. And we have to multiply the result by 360. So we need here scrolled portion divided by the difference of page height and page viewport height, and we have to multiply it by 360 degrees. Let's go ahead and see in the console what this variable gives us. Let's run to the console scroll portion degree. So let's inspect the page and switch to the console tab. Once we scroll down the page and go to the end of it, we'll get the proper values from 0 to 360 degrees. Alright, so now using this variable we will rotate half circles. So we need to loop through them and rotate each half circle. I'm in the first and the second div elements inside the progress bar. So in order to loop through them, we have to use one of the array helper methods called for each. It takes one parameter, which is going to be the callback function. It will be executed for each element. The callback function itself takes one parameter and it's the current item in the list. Let's call it element. And now we have to transform each element. We need style transform. Then open backticks. We need here rotate function. And as the value, we have to pass here scrolled portion degree. So now if we scroll down, then the scroll bar will start to fill. Once we reach half of it, then we need to stop the first half circle. And also we need to hide the third div element. I'm in the half circle top. So we need to use the if statement where we have to define if scrolled portion degree is greater than or equal to 180. So let's insert here the mention condition. So if this condition is true, then we have to give the first half circle the fixed value equal to 180 degrees. In order to select the first half circle, we have to use the index number 0, and then we need style transform. It should be equal to rotate 180 degrees. And also we need to hide the half circle top. Let's use style.opacity and make it equal to 0. So now once we scroll down, the entire progress bar will be filled, but we have here a tiny issue. Once we scroll up and the scrolled portion degree becomes less than 180 degrees, we have to display back half circle top. So we need to create else statement. Then let's grab this line of code, paste it here, and change the value, make it 1. So now as you can see, everything works perfectly. The only thing that we have to do is to make the percentage value work. In this case, we have to convert degrees into a percentage value. Let's create a new variable. I'm going to call it scrolled portion %. So in this case, we have to divide scrolled portion degree by 360 degrees, and then we have to multiply it by 100. Okay, now we have to display this value as the content of the progress bar circle. So let's use progress bar circle with text content. Then open backticks, insert here scrolled portion %, followed by the percentage sign. So right now the percentage value works, but we have here the decimals. In order to get rid of them, we have to use one of the methods called math.floor. So now, as you can see, everything works perfectly, and actually with the project we are done. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned some new stuff. If you like this video, then please thumbs up, comment below, share it, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell to get notified on coming tutorials. Okay, see you next time.